The crystal chandeliers of the Grand Plaza Hotel sparkled overhead as I stood in my cheap clothes. A simple black dress from a department store facing my sister Amanda's perfectly manicured scowl. "Absolutely not," she hissed, perfectly painted lips curling in disgust. "Dad's 60th birthday is the social event of the season. We can't have you embarrassing us in." She gestured vaguely at my outfit. That. Behind her, through the ornate doors of the hotel's grand ballroom, I could see the elite of New York's financial world gathering. My father's birthday celebration was less about family and more about impressing his business associates, at least according to my status-obsessed siblings. "The invitation said family only," I replied calmly, adjusting the simple pearl necklace my mother had left me before she passed. "Family who understand the importance of appearance," my brother Ryan chimed in, his custom Tom Ford suit practically gleaming under the lobby lights. "You look like an intern at a job interview." If they only knew that my cheap dress cost more than their monthly mortgage payments. I just didn't feel the need to flash designer labels like armor. Being the chairman of VXG Global, one of the largest private equity firms in the world, had taught me the difference between wealth and worth. "Move aside," Amanda commanded when I didn't immediately retreat. "We have actual important guests arriving." As if on cue, the hotel's revolving doors spun, admitting Charles Wellington III, my father's oldest friend and business partner. I suppressed a smile, knowing what was coming. Charles spotted me immediately, his eyes widening in recognition. He quickened his pace, approaching our little group with purpose. "Madam Chairman," he said, bowing slightly, "I didn't know this was your father's celebration." The silence that followed was deafening. Amanda's perfectly sculpted eyebrows shot up so high they nearly disappeared into her hairline. Ryan's drink stopped halfway to his mouth. "Charles," I nodded, enjoying their confusion. "How's the merger proceeding?" "The paperwork will be on your desk Monday morning," he replied. "Though I must say, having the chairman of VXG Global waiting in the lobby is rather unusual." "Wait," Ryan sputtered, his expensive scotch nearly spilling. "What did you call her?" Charles looked between my siblings, genuine confusion crossing his features. "Madam Chairman? Surely you know your sister acquired VXG Global 6 months ago." Amanda's face had gone from shocked to pale. "That's impossible. VXG is worth billions. $47.3 billion at last valuation," I confirmed. "Though we're expecting that to rise after Monday's merger announcement." The story of how I'd ended up here, chairman of one of the world's largest private equity firms while my family thought I was struggling at some entry-level job, began 5 years ago. After Mom's death, Dad had thrown himself into work, leaving the family business increasingly in the hands of my ambitious but short-sighted siblings. While they focused on social climbing and status symbols, I'd seen the bigger picture. Using my inheritance from Mom, significantly smaller than my siblings' trust funds because I'd refused to follow the family-approved career path, I'd started investing in undervalued companies. My first big break came when I spotted a pattern in the market that everyone else had missed. While traditional investors were focusing on tech startups, I saw opportunity in overlooked industrial companies. One successful acquisition led to another, each carefully hidden behind layers of holding companies and private trusts. But you work at some small investment firm," Amanda stammered, her worldview visibly crumbling. "Actually," Charles interjected, "your sister owns that firm. And about 30 others. VXG Global's acquisition was just the most recent." Ryan grabbed my arm, his expensive watch digging into my skin. "Why didn't you tell us?" I gently removed his hand. "Would you have believed me? You were too busy mocking my poor career choices to notice what I was building." The hotel doors opened again, admitting more of New York's financial elite. Each one nodded respectfully in my direction, several calling out "Madam Chairman" as they passed. Amanda's face had shifted from shock to calculation. Always the social climber, always looking for an angle. "Well, obviously we need to update the seating arrangements. You should be at the main table dash." "No need," I cut her off. "I'm perfectly comfortable where you originally placed me, at the back with the unimportant guests." "But that's near the service entrance," Ryan protested. "People will talk." "Let them," I smiled. "Some of my best deals started in service entrances. Speaking of which," I nodded to a group of people entering through the side door. the CEOs of 3 Fortune 500 companies, all of whom preferred to avoid the spotlight. If you'll excuse me, I have some actual business to discuss. As I walked away, I heard Charles explaining to my dumbfounded siblings exactly how much power their poor sister really wielded in the financial world. Inside the ballroom, Dad was holding court near the main stage, unaware of the drama unfolding in the lobby. He'd been too busy with work to notice how his children had turned out, one daughter building an empire in silence, the others building nothing but appearances. My phone buzzed with a message from my executive team. Merger documents ready for final review. Should we proceed with Monday's announcement? I looked at my father, remembering how he'd built his own success from nothing. How different would things have been if he'd paid as much attention to his children's character as he had to their social status? Hold the announcement, I texted back. Tonight's going to be interesting. The birthday celebration was in full swing, crystal glasses clinking as New York's elite maneuvered for position around my father. From my carefully chosen table near the service entrance, I watched the social dynamics play out like a perfectly choreographed dance. Amanda and Ryan were working the room frantically, their earlier shock now transformed into desperate attempts to capitalize on their newfound connection to Madam Chairman. I could see them dropping my name into conversations, claiming they'd always known about my success. My phone buzzed again, another message from my executive team, Wall Street Journal requesting comment on Monday's merger. Also, your father's company's Q3 reports just came in. You were right about the discrepancies. I took a slow sip of champagne, remembering the real reason I'd kept my success hidden for so long. 3 years of careful investigation had revealed what my siblings' social climbing had concealed. Our father's company was in serious trouble. Mind if I join you? Charles Wellington settled into the chair beside me, loosening his bow tie. The vultures up there are circling rather obviously tonight. I nodded toward where Amanda was practically hanging on the arm of an investment banker. They still think money is about who you know, not what you know. Speaking of knowing things, Charles lowered his voice. Have you told him yet? About VXG? Or about knowing his company is 3 months from bankruptcy? Charles winced. Both, I suppose. Though the second one might be more pressing. I watched my father laugh at something Ryan was saying, his smile not quite reaching his eyes. The weight of his company's troubles showed in the new lines on his face, the slight slump in his shoulders. He built that company from nothing, I said quietly. While Mom raised us, he worked 18-hour days, determined to give us everything he never had. Somewhere along the way, he forgot that everything should include values, not just valuables. And now his CFO has been cooking the books for years, his market share is collapsing, and my dear siblings are too busy planning charity galas to notice the ship is sinking. The irony wasn't lost on either of us, that the daughter they'd tried to keep away from the party could buy the entire hotel it was being held in, while the company they were all so proud of was quietly imploding. My phone buzzed once more. Singapore office confirms acquisition of Parker Industries complete. You now control 60% of your father's market sector. Time to move? Charles asked, noting my expression. I stood, smoothing my cheap dress. Time to save the family business, whether they like it or not. Making my way to the stage, I caught Amanda's eye. She made a frantic slashing motion across her throat, still trying to keep the embarrassing sister away from the spotlight. Ladies and gentlemen, I spoke into the microphone, my voice cutting through the party's chatter. I believe it's time for the evening's special presentation. Dad looked up, confusion crossing his features. This wasn't on the carefully planned schedule. Most of you know Edward Harrison as a brilliant businessman, a pillar of New York finance. I clicked a remote and the ballroom's screens came to life. What you might not know is how close he came to losing everything this year. The room went silent. Ryan choked on his drink. Amanda's face went pale. Dad, I continued, looking directly at him, your CFO has been falsifying reports for the past 3 years. Your market share isn't growing, it's collapsing. By my calculations, you have less than 90 days before the truth becomes impossible to hide. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Dad's face had gone ashen. But tonight isn't about problems. I clicked the remote again, showing a new set of figures. It's about solutions. About family. The screens displayed a complex web of companies, my companies, all connecting back to one central point. Harrison Global, my father's life's work. Over the past 5 years, while some of us were busy buying designer labels and country club memberships, I was building something else. Something that could save what you built, Dad. Understanding began to dawn on his face. VXD Global, he whispered. That was you. I nodded. Along with about 30 other companies. While Amanda and Ryan were planning parties, I was planning a rescue. The screens showed the next phase. A complete restructuring of Harrison Global, backed by the full power of my corporate empire. The merger announcement on Monday isn't just another business deal, I explained. It's a lifeline. VXG Global isn't acquiring Harrison Global, we're saving it. Modernizing it. Making it what it should have been all along. Amanda rushed forward. This is ridiculous. Dad, you can't let her dash. Let her what? Charles stood up. Save the company you were too busy spending to notice was failing? Dad raised his hand, silencing the room. How? He asked simply. How did you know? How did you build all this? I learned from you, Dad. The real you, not the social status version. I watched how you built your company, how you spotted opportunities everyone else missed. I just did it quietly without the galas and designer suits. The screens showed the final piece of the plan. A new corporate structure where Harrison Global would become the centerpiece of a modern, integrated financial empire. You taught us that real success isn't about looking rich. It's about building something that lasts. Some of us just took that lesson more seriously than others. Ryan stepped forward, his arrogance finally cracking. But we're the ones who stayed in finance. Who followed the family path. No, I corrected him. You followed the appearance of the path. I followed its purpose. Turning back to Dad, I saw tears in his eyes. The birthday gift I wanted to give you isn't just saving your company. It's showing you that at least one of your children understood what really matters. The room erupted in applause, not the polite social kind, but genuine appreciation for what they were witnessing. A father's legacy not just preserved but transformed. A family business not just saved but revolutionized. Amanda and Ryan stood frozen, their world of social climbing and status symbols crumbling around them. The sister they'd tried to ban from the party had just revealed herself as one of the most powerful figures in global finance. So, I smiled, raising my champagne glass. Happy birthday, Dad. Your company's future is secure, your legacy is intact, and your poor daughter isn't so poor after all. Dad made his way to the stage, ignoring the crowd's reaction. I've been so blind, he said quietly. So focused on the wrong things. It's not too late, I assured him. For any of us. Monday's announcement isn't just about business. It's about family. About building something together, this time with the right priorities. As the party transformed into an impromptu celebration of not just a birthday but a new beginning, I watched my siblings struggle to process their new reality. The sister they judged by her clothes had quietly become the one who would determine their future. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't showing people how wrong they were, it's showing them how right they could have been. And as I stood there in my cheap dress, holding the future of our family's legacy in my hands, I realized that true wealth isn't about what you wear to the party. It's about what you build when everyone else is too busy partying to notice.